Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, and why every Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master needs to buy, read, and run Marvel Multiverse RPG. It's absolutely critical. All right, so let's get into this. So so when the book came out, I blasted through it, right? Because I wanted to run it literally. So I bought it on a Saturday. I ran it on a Thursday, okay? And so I did a very fast read-through. And now I'm doing a second read-through at a slower, more granular pace, really kind of absorbing it. And I don't think the tabletop role-playing sphere, the tabletop role-playing game community really understands what Matthew Forback, Matt Forback? I don't know, one or the other, accomplished with this incredible game. So basically, first of all, you have to understand this is Marvel Multiverse RPG is D&D to the bone. If you look at the character sheet, it's hard to tell the difference between a Marvel character sheet and a D&D character sheet because it was purposely crafted to be virtually identical, right? Also, the feel of Marvel Multiverse RPG in play is virtually identical to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, right? Which is the most successful edition of Dungeons & Dragons ever, and by a massive amount. I don't know if you know this, but Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition has outsold literally every other version combined, right? So it is inarguably the best version of Dungeons & Dragons ever. It's not debatable fact, or in my humble opinion. All right. So, what did Matthew Forback really do with Marvel Multiverse RPG, and why is it so critical that every Dungeons & Dragons dungeon master owns it, reads it, and runs it? Well, the reason why is Matt Forback, I think accidentally did something that Dungeons & Dragons is asked to do, but has never actually done, right? So basically, there's been a huge debate on Twitter and on every social media that matters. I would say that's Twitter. I would say that's Reddit. I would say that's it. I think this is the only social medias that matter, right? And the reality and the reason why is the smartest people talk on Twitter. By far, the smartest people in the world talk on Twitter, right? And so basically, there's been this discussion, and everybody's like, and over the last few years, everything's getting converted to Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, as the tabletop role-playing game community says, hey, you know what? There isn't really a tabletop role-playing game collection, right? There's just D&D and a bunch of games that utterly fail to be D&D. So why don't we just take every world and convert it to D&D, and tabletop role-playing games are D&D 5e rule set and whatever world you want, right? The problem is Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition is being asked to be GURPS, right? The generic universal role-playing system. The problem is it was never built to do that, okay? And so it fails to do that in many ways, and you're like, okay, we can run everything with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, but there's a little bit of friction. There's a little bit of wonkiness, right? Whereas when you look at Marvel Multiverse RPG, it actually is a modern, effective, amazing GURPS system. It's astounding. It's truly astounding, right? And you can run anything with it. And I'm not kidding. Anything. Now, why? Why is Marvel Multiverse RPG, a game that was inspired by Dungeons & Dragons, better at being a generic universal role-playing system than Dungeons & Dragons? Well, the reason why is Matthew Forback is a virtually peerless. Actually, I would say he is a peerless tabletop role-playing game designer and architect. Okay, there's nobody on the planet that has the talent he has right now. I think he's number one. I think he's proven it with Marvel Multiverse RPG, right? And what he did was, but that wouldn't be enough to beat D&D. It's enough because Matthew Forbeck is like, I'm going to climb on the shoulders of Gary Gygax. So this is the best person alive who can design a tabletop role-playing game, standing on the best person who's dead who ever designed a tabletop role-playing game. And that's undefeatable, right? And the reality, and what's really wild is, I don't think for 1 minute Matthew Forbeck intended to create a modern, effective GURPS. And by the way, you're like, hey Scott, why don't you just use GURPS? Because GURPS is trash. You can't drag people to that game because the art and the layout are utter garbage. Okay, so GURPS doesn't actually function as what it was designed to be. It is not a good, generic universal role-playing system. That's its name, but it doesn't actually function as that. And the reason why is nobody wants to play it. It's like it's sealed in amber. GURPS is not actually. Its goal was 100% effective, was 100% needed, but GURPS never achieved it. Okay, but Matthew Forbeck did. Okay, so how did Matthew Forbeck create the perfect system to run anything? Well, first of all, he took everything that was great from Dungeons & Dragons and he fixed it all, right? In Marvel Multiverse role-playing, in Marvel Multiverse RPG. But wait, let's get all the way there. This gets really interesting. What really made this, so it was Matthew Forbeck's genius, but there was also this happy accident, right? And how did that happy accident happen, right? I'll tell it to you right now. It's Daredevil and Hulk, okay? Daredevil is rank 2. He's a street level hero, right? And he has no powers. Daredevil doesn't have any powers. He's just a regular human being, right? And so he's a highly effective, human being, almost like James Bond, and he's incredibly effective. But Matthew Forbeck built a system where a hero can be street level, but they can also be close to God level, right? And that's Hulk. Hulk is rank 6, right? Ridiculously powerful, outrageously powerful hero, right? So that's where you land, right? And the reality is, Marvel Multiverse RPG actually handles everything. Okay, it handles magic, it handles tech, it handles aliens, it handles androids, it handles everything that's needed in fantasy, everything that's needed in sci-fi, and you could literally run NYPD Blues with it, right? You could run 911, the RPG, right? Like, it is astounding. It is truly astounding what he's created. And so the reality is, there's a million ideas that should flow directly over to Dungeons & Dragons from Marvel Multiverse RPG, especially if you're using Dungeons & Dragons to run anything that is not traditional fantasy, right? And I honestly believe Marvel Multiverse RPG belongs in your Dungeons & Dragons collection, right? Why? Because both your 2014 PHB has Gary Gygax's name on page 2, and Marvel Multiverse RPG has his name on page 2. And Dungeons & Dragons 2014 PHB has Dungeons & Dragons on the cover, and Marvel Multiverse RPG has Dungeons & Dragons on the cover, literally. Like, it's astounding. Matthew Forbeck has done the impossible with this game, which is actually deliver a fully effective, fully powerful, fully amazing tabletop role-playing experience. It's incredible. If you're a dungeon master, you've got to get this game and read it. It will make your Dungeons & Dragons games better, right? And the reason why is you're going to see the future of Dungeons & Dragons. Every major problem 5e has is fixed in Marvel Multiverse RPG. It's truly stunningly staggering. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking, subscribing, and may God bless you and yours.